Weird.
Dear Lockstin, I think it would be
Why is this in the voice of a little girl?
really, really cool if you made a review of one of your favorite games from a caring fan.
I can't do reviews though. It's not what I usually do. It's too different. So everyone will hate me and everyone will leave me. Even the letter hates me now. How does that even happen? Granted, it does look like a lot of fun to make.
You can do it, Lockstin. I believe in you. What are these? I need something. Come on. There's nothing.
There's nothing. I have no idea how you guys do it.
To be honest, I'm not too sure either. But you never know when an awesome video idea literally just pops itself right in front of you.
Maybe I just need sleep.
You never know when an awesome video idea literally just pops itself right in front of you.
Oh my word! This is ridiculous! Is this what life is like for you YouTubers? Random happenstances happening non-stop? I am currently witnessing the craziest thing imaginable. The science just isn't there! Why is there a camera pointing me at all times? Rayman 2. You know, no other game has fascinated me quite as much as this one, and I could spend hours telling you why it's so amazing. I've beaten this game well over a dozen times, mainly because back when this first came out on PC in 1999, it was one of the only modern games I had, and easily the best one. Everything about it was beautiful, and looking back at it, even without my nostalgia goggles on, I can certainly say that this game is a fantastic platforming adventure, and was certainly more, shall I say, epic than Mario. But epic can really mean anything these days, so what do I mean by that? Well, I mean the story. Even today, I've never played a platformer with as deep and dark of a story as this one. I mean, most platformers are happy tales and are extra simple so that children can understand them. But why do so many people assume that children can only understand stories as complex as Save the Princess, Bowser Bad? I mean, children are able to pick up on a lot of stuff, even some things that adults can't pick up. I mean, obviously, don't go throwing in politics, humanities, and psychology and all that advanced stuff into children's stories, but Rayman 2, I feel like, is a good balance between a deep, dark plot that simultaneously is simple enough for children to understand, but also pick up details on. But just how dark is it? The game opens with the camera panning over various islands as the narrator, later revealed as Lee the Fairy, tells you that the world totally sucks now. Frowny face. And even before we see our hero, we are shown a huge flying pirate ship filled with slaves, and the number of slaves is growing. Yes, their captain Razorbeard has successfully enslaved most of the world and is working on finishing up. Glowbox, a friend of Rayman, gets dragged into a cell, and as luck would have it, it's the same cell as Rayman. Go figure. And while Rayman is happy for a moment to see someone he knows, he quickly falls back into sadness. Sadness for his people, and sadness for the loss of his powers. He knows that even though he tried so hard and got so far, in the end, it didn't even matter. Glowbox has a gift from Lee though. A gift that gives Rayman some of his powers back. Not much, but enough to escape.
And you know how the game is called The Great Escape? Well, this is the one and only time you actually do any sort of escaping.
It's like calling Mario the Great Kidnapping. We haven't even gotten to the tutorial level yet. But let's not head to that tutorial level just yet. Let's talk about something else. This right here, brilliant. No tutorial yet. Glowbox isn't here telling you to use the analog stick to move. No, it's up to you to figure out that interacting with the controller does things in the game. But at the same time, it doesn't give you a huge play area to mess around in. And when you do leave the cell, the game throws sliding at you, showing you right away that there are many different types of platforming in this game. This part also teaches you that grabbing red fairy things, later revealed as red lumps, heal you, since you start the game beat up and see your health rise as you collect them. Brilliant game design if you ask me. Already you've learned the basics of basically everything. And only now does Murphy show up to tell you about some of the more complex things and the various rules and tricks of the game.
Now listen to the way Murphy talks here. I don't like that. I don't like that creepy voice one bit.
Now I'd like to bring up another thing. This game has a lot of different versions and comes in many different languages. In the Dreamcast, PC, and Nintendo 64 versions, everyone speaks in this sort of gibberish? Then on the later released PlayStation 1 version, everyone gets fully voice acted. But a lot of chunks of levels and levels altogether get cut in this version, so it's really not worth the trade. But later on the PS2 remake, they finally got smart and gave you the option to choose, not only between English and Raymanese, but also French, and some others. I particularly enjoy the French and Raymanese dubs myself. And Murphy here only sounds creepy and whispery in Raymanese. What gives? And then when he's finished talking, he's all... Why? Are you cute or are you creepy? I don't know. Anyway, you continue the next few levels and quickly gain all of your new abilities, like swinging and more powerful attacks, and being able to hover glide by spinning your hair around rapidly. You know, I didn't think about this until now, but I think Rayman flying is significantly more confusing than Tails flying. I mean, the science just isn't there. And speaking of the gliding, the control of this game is tight, responsive, easily some of the best controls of any platformer. Besides Mario, of course. The ledge grabbing and being able to jump from the ledge grab helps keep things moving fast and keeps things interesting. The shadow seen under you when you are gliding lets you know when you are safe to land, and just... For a man with no arms or legs, he certainly has some fantastic traction and control. And speaking of which, how do you have hands and feet but no arms and legs? That doesn't make any sense. The science just isn't there. As you continue in the game, you start meeting lots of quirky and fun characters. This game balances out dark plot with humor quite well. My favorite characters would be the Teensies. They guide you through the universe, yet can't agree on who among them is king. Eventually, they start taking turns. And then there's Glowbox. And, well... he's Glowbox. The science just isn't there. They all help you through the story in their own unique way. And the story gets better and better as it goes on. I'll give you a brief synopsis. We've already covered that Razorbeard is enslaving everyone and bringing darkness to the land, but he did so by capturing all 1,000 lums in the world and scattering them. The lums being like the blood flowing through the world, keeping it held together in perfect balance. Rayman now has to find them, so the Teensies can activate these portals Rayman uses to travel the world. But you soon find out that because the lums are missing, They're causing the entire universe to collapse. And you need to save the heart of the world by gathering more mystical artifacts, which includes going into ancient temples and finding god guardians that you must defeat in order to get all 4 masks that you use to awaken Polycus, a great and powerful god who, hopefully, can fix everything. And then he helps you defeat Razorbeard, who, by the way, at one point eats a lum right in front of you! And yes, this affects the game because from this point forward, you actually only have 999 lums to collect. Jeez, Razorbeard, that's brutal. That's pretty heavy metal. Get it? 'Cause he's a robot. But while you are doing all of this, Razorbeard is sending his armies at you, and you have to fight and outrun them. Sometimes, like in this epic level, you have to outrun the obstacle course behind you as one of Razorbeard's ships is destroying it. Most of the time, though, you'll fight his minions directly. And now let's talk about the combat for a while. The combat in this game is a little on the simple side and can get repetitive. Let me tell you what I mean. You lock onto an enemy and strafe around them, avoiding their shots as you shoot them back. Normally, basic combat like this would get boring quickly, but surprisingly, you don't actually fight that much in this game. The moments of combat are mostly one-on-one and are spread out enough that it never truly gets boring, and a lot of the fights will introduce a different type of landscape that affects the battle. Rayman 2 definitely focuses a lot more on platforming and exploration over the combat, which is perfectly fine, preferred even, because it takes place in such a beautiful fantasy world that you just want to go out and explore in. The levels are all unique, yet fit well together at the same time, and many of the levels have unique mechanics in them too. There's dodging barrels, there's barrel flying, there's water skiing, flying for an entire level, sliding a bunch, riding a living rocket that thinks it's a horse, and even riding around on a giant plum that you control by firing in the opposite direction you want it to bounce. And these plum rides are a ton of fun, but I have to wonder, how come this plum can withstand being in lava? What sort of plant can withstand that kind of heat? Can you eat this plum? If you do, does it even digest?
The science just isn't there.
Now, let's get into the keyword for what makes this game so darn epic. And that keyword is atmosphere. The fantasy world, the colors, the story, it's all so well thought out and well put together. The ancient temples, hence the levels before the bosses, are some of the best parts. But for one example, let's look at one of my and many other Rayman fans' favorite levels, or at least most memorable levels. That being the Cave of Bad Dreams. Very early into the game, you are in this swamp, and off to the side, you are drawn to the entrance of the Cave of Bad Dreams. But the very creepy guard of the entrance, who goes by the name of Jano, tells you that you are not allowed to enter until you know the name of this place. And you know how Murphy was the most terrifying little guy in all of existence? Well, just listen to this monster. And I thought I was gonna sleep. Way later into the game, you find that your friend Clark is dying, and he tells you that the way to save him is with the antidote, which happens to be in the Cave of Bad Dreams. Oh, so that's the name of the place. The Cave of Bad Dreams. I see nothing wrong with that. Let's go there right now. So you go back and tell Jano the name of the cave. He tells you that he will let you in, but soon he will follow you. And if he finds you, then he will show you no mercy. And the whole level is filled with ghosts and skeletons and... looking back at it, nothing about this level itself is all that scary. A little creepy, maybe, especially if you're a kid, but... yeah, I've been in this level for a while now, and there isn't really anything too scary.
Back fiend! Back demon of the darkness!
Ah! Oh! Rayman! Rayman, go! Slide! Rayman, slide! Slide faster! Slide! Oh, Rayman, go! Ah! The camera is inside of the mouth of Jano, and if he gets too close, then he eats you! That is some terrifying stuff, man. I thought this game was for kids. And I'd be lying if I told you that when I got to this part the first time, I didn't put the game down for months on end because I was too terrified to finish this level. Eventually, when I did finally pick this game up again, my main problem was that this one sliding section is so hard. Like, how? How does one even do this? Even now, I'm having a very difficult time. That is until I find out that you can actually attack these crystal spikes to get them out of the way, making the whole level significantly easy.
dead!
A boss battle ensues, and another thing I like about this game is that even the boss battles aren't all that combat. They have a good chunk of platforming too, which is perfect for a platformer. Anyway, this whole level is a good example of atmosphere, because the whole time, while this level is creepy enough, there is also the looming thought of Jano catching up to you. And also, even before you are allowed inside, this cave fills you with intrigue. Why aren't you allowed to go in there? Literally everything else you can once you progress far enough, but why not this cave? There must be something terrifying in it. What's so special about it? It's a very interesting design choice, and I think it works brilliantly. Also, I love the ghosts in this game. They're all birds of some kind. And speaking of sound, the sound design in this game is fantastic too. And not just the sound effects, but also the music. It's all very atmospheric. And there's that word again, atmospheric. The music helps play into this tremendously. This whole time you've been listening to this game's soundtrack. The one downside to the music in this game though is that it lacks a sort of memorability. I mean, think about Mario, Zelda, Banjo-Kazooie, heck, all kinds of games. Right now I could start singing and humming various tunes from these games.
Sorry, now you know the song is stuck in your head forever.
And a lot of these games not only have themes that are very memorable, but just any of the music, really. The shop music, specific tracks in the game, even music that only plays once in an entire game, sometimes is still very memorable. Rayman doesn't exactly have that. I mean, I can remember some of the tunes, but that's only because I've played this game so many times. But what the music lacks in memorability, it gains in atmosphere, which I see as a fair trade. Perhaps not in the marketing of Rayman games, but in the experience of Rayman games. All in all, Rayman 2, and especially its PS2 remastering, is a fantastic game. I would say it is the direct rival to Mario, perhaps not in terms of sales or popularity, but in quality. It just has its quality in some different areas. It has the greatest story and greatest atmosphere of any platformer ever. It has a beautiful variety of gameplay, yet it all flows together so well and none of it ever gets boring. Its controls are tight and precise, and it just... you have no idea how much I love this game. It is phenomenal. I could talk about this for hours. You have no idea how much I've cut down this script. So if you are a fan of 3D platformers, I have no higher recommendation than Rayman 2. Especially if you're playing Rayman 2 Revolution, its PS2 remastering. This is basically the entire game with extras and even better. So if you can, play the PS2 version. The second best option would be to either play it on the Dreamcast or the PC. Then I'd say the Nintendo 64 version. And then I'd say the DS version is below that. Just, by all means, please avoid the PlayStation 1 version and the 3DS version and the Game Boy Color version, because those are all either broken, missing content, or aren't even the same game. So do yourself a favor and just avoid those at all costs. I mean, unless you want your experience ruined. Yes, hi Nintendo? Yeah, I was calling just wondering when Rayman's gonna be put into Smash Brothers. Hello? Hello? It just doesn't make any sense. Rayman would be the perfect fit. Even if his amiibo would be god-awful ugly. The science just isn't there. Hello, thank you for watching this video. This is my first review in this style, and I do sincerely hope that you enjoyed it. I put a ton of work to it, and so I would very much appreciate it if you shared this with some of your friends. Also, I would love for you to tell me in your comments what your favorite part of this was and what you think I should do next. And also on my Let's Play channel, I will soon start a Let's Play of Rayman 2 Revolution, and I will post links to that in the description. So until next time, you just stay amazing! Nothing! I have to do something! I have no idea how you guys do it.
To be honest, I'm not too sure either. But you never know when an awesome video idea literally just pops itself right in front of you.
Maybe I just need sleep.
You never know when an awesome video idea literally just pops itself right in front of you.
Oh my word! This is ridiculous! Is this what life is like for you YouTubers? Random happenstances happening non-stop? I am currently witnessing the craziest thing imaginable! The science just isn't there! Why is there a camera? Even the letter hates me now. How does that even happen? Granted, it does look like a lot of fun to make.
You can do it, Lockstin. I believe in you. What are these?
It's weird.
Dear Lockstin, I think it would be
Why is this in the voice of a little girl?
really, really cool if you made a review of one of your favorite games from a caring fan.
I can't do reviews though, it's not what I usually do. It's too different. So everyone will hate me and everyone will leave me.